So it's done and dusted, that's right. Derby County complete the double, the daily double, the Rovers double, by signing both Andy Weimann and, of course, Danny Barr. But what about the Rovers fans? What do they think? Well, we're going to take a little look next. That's right, folks, back once again in another video. Today we're taking a look at, of course, the recent departures of Blackburn Rovers as two senior pros decide to swap Ewood Park for Pride Park. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in a second. If you're new, where you been? Smash your subscribe. You want some short for Blackburn Rovers, World Football. We're going to all here under one risky. That's right. No more Danny Barr, no more Andy Weimann, of course. A season to remember last time around. Of course, have they swapped pastures new for the good or the bad? We'll take a little look in just 1 second. Big shout out to the members and the patrons. You know who you are. And again, if you're new, smash your subscribe. Your one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers is right here. That's right. So a couple players out. Of course, what's that going to do for Rovers in the long term? Well, we'll get into it in a minute. But before that, I'm going to hand you over to Eddie to talk all things away day travel. And of course, if you're interested, you might want to listen.
Ewood Eddie here with some news on our brand new scheme we're looking to implement in the 2025-2026 campaign. What is it? Well, it's affordable away day travel. That's right. Us at Blackburn Rovers Seas hope to implement this brand new scheme for each and every one of the away days taking place in the upcoming campaign. Right now, we're just in the planning stages and we want to know if you are interested in away day travel for the upcoming season. Now, what I need you to do now is, of course, go to this link on the screen right about now. It's a QR code, or maybe drop down in the old description to follow the URL and fill out your name and, of course, maybe some contact information that we can reach out to you when we are 100% committed. Just a reminder that this is just the planning stage of this service. Nothing is 100% as of yet. But the more numbers and the names that we get down in the next few weeks, then, of course, then we'll have the ability to make this happen for you guys. Again, looking at what's available at the moment, this does look like an affordable option if we can get the support from you guys. And again, it's just a fantastic way for you to support the channel in another way. Back to you, Dirk.
Appreciate that, Eddie. Thanks again for your input about that. And again, we're looking for your opinion, so make sure you get involved with that down below. But until then, we're going to jump on over to the mafioso to talk about the departures of Danny Barr and, of course, Andy Weimann. Of course, so Derby County doing this, like buy one, get one. Buy one, get one free. Well, they're not actually buying one. They just get two free, really. It's Danny Barr, Andreas Weimann looks set to be reignited with John Eustace at Pride Park. A bitter pill it is for me to say goodbye to both of these. So, you can look at it a couple of ways. Again, we can really assume that that Rovers get replacements in for them. But John T, what's your take on the departures of these two veterans?
I think the bigger question is, if you had to choose between one of them to go and one of them to stay, who would it be? I think my answer to that question would be I prefer to see Danny Barr. I've probably kind of waxed lyrical about him throughout the course of last season, only because of the sort of leadership that he had on field. So yeah, but listen, I'm gutted to see both of them go. I think we probably could get another season out of Andy Weimann, Danny Barr. Even on the coaching team sort of thing, I think he has been immense for us sort of thing. Like I say, with his leadership skills, playing alongside Dominic Hyam. Dominic Hyam, when he's playing against one of the other younger lads, Hayden Carter or Scotty Wharton, Dominic Hyam is kind of been the leader, but then when you get Danny Barr in, it's kind of Danny Barr's been leading the pack. So I think I'll personally miss his leadership. I mean, forget where he goes to, even if he, it's kind of irrelevant, isn't it? But yeah, it's just typical Derby, and for our 150th game at home to be at home to Derby County, I was like, oh, for goodness sake, really, why couldn't we have had somebody like Charlton at home or Swansea at home or somebody like that? But it is what it is. Both will be big misses. I like what Andy Weimann did. For me, probably didn't get as much game time as potentially, especially when Yuki was injured. I think he should have had a little bit more game time. Me personally, other than my my other mate that everybody's aware of, but yeah, I would have preferred to see a bit more of Andy Weimann. So, there's an element that you can't blame him for going. If you look at how many times he's kept the bench warm, and when he should have come on in the 70th minute and he hasn't, he's been 85th, 86th minute sort of thing. It's pointless, isn't it? So he looked, certainly for his age, he still looked sharp. He looked fit. He looked fresh and what have you. So yeah, I think. There's an element of we've only got ourselves to blame, but like I say, going to Derby is just a harder kick in the nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, Danver, what's your take on the departing duo? Are they? Are we going to be in a better position than they are, or will we find adequate replacements to fill the shoes of these guys?
Again, as boring. I think I've said this like 5 times today already. Time will tell. It's going to be one of those where, look, when the news came out that they're potentially training with Derby and the interest is there, and look, they haven't signed the contract, so they've got to keep their doors open. But it is a shame. I really did like. I mean, Danny Bart's been phenomenal when he's come in and he played majority of the season, and same with Andy Weimann, came up with some really crucial goals. I think in the memory of Blackburn Rovers fans, that goal against Burnley will live long. But got to look at the bigger picture. Both on the wrong side of 30. How much we would have both given them one more year. Derby County is a team that just survived, a manager that they clearly both players like and love to coach under. Val isn't probably that. And you look at it from all those aspects and you think it makes sense from their perspective in the sense of it's probably going to be easy to break in the side that have just survived. We're looking to push on a little bit. I don't know how much that is going to play effect to what's happened, but of course a manager that they love in Eustace and potentially a lot more game time. I mean, Danny Bart got plenty, but how much was he probably looking at getting when he originally signed? I don't know. With the likes of Hayden Carter, Scott Wharton ahead of, but then on Jonty's point with Andy Weimann, we've got to remember that majority of the season, John Eustace was manager and he was making the decisions. I don't know how much of how much game time he's going to really get at Derby as well, but with the personnel there, he's going to have a look at it. He probably thinks he's going to have a better chance of getting in the squad. But yeah, it all matters now. What recruitment we're going to get in. Also, what kind of players does Val and Ishmael want? Maybe a very different profile. I know we offered them both contracts. We clearly wanted them both to be in a part of the squad. But that would probably have been it. I think especially with Weimann, with his age. And look, he was carrying a knock from a lot of the games that he was playing. And then eventually decided to get his surgery ready for pre-season. For Derby, unfortunately, not for us. But, we'll see what happens there. But I think, again, wrong side of 30. What would you rather have the investment in? Would you rather have two players who, as much as Danny Bart had a really good, would you rather invest in youth and have that sell-on value or that potential of being really good players or players who are older? Look, I wish both of them would sign both contracts because I think they're both really crucial players. Weimann with his goals and Danny Bart with his knowledge, helped Hyman all that time. Alongside Hyman, sorry, and they're going to be a bit missed. But if we get the right personnel in, which Rovers, we can do by time to time, and get Valor and Ishmael's players in, and we do really well, we'll forget about Andy Weimann and Danny Bart like we have done with a lot of players who've gone in the past. So yeah,
that's good point of view. I also think. Yeah, it's we're going to miss the experience, and hopefully we will find some experience somewhere within the transfer market. But I think you're right with the amount of money these guys were on. We could probably get younger assets that could have a good year or two with us, and then be sold to make a bit of money, and hopefully put us some more money in the bank. But it's not. It doesn't end there, unfortunately, guys. It doesn't end there. It does look like this guy again. It's the world's football's worst secret, and it's Tyrese Dolan. Looks set to also depart Blackburn Rovers. I think we are within the TikTok stage. This is the last day. I think he's paid by Blackburn Rovers. Tomorrow he'll be unpaid by Blackburn Rovers, and we'll probably hear an announcement within the day or 20 within the week, I'd say, of where his next club is. There are some rumors around, including a lot of Derby fans think he's going there, and I'd be stunned if that's the case. But he's leaving for sure. I'd say 99.999%. I don't think there's much hope in dragging it out. But John T, what's your take on him leaving? And he's a bit of a Marmite. So he's like a bit of Marmite. Sometimes he's amazing or decent. Sometimes he can be frustrating, but
Yeah, I think when you talk about a Marmite player, you either like them or you don't. I think with Tyrese Dolan, he's either brilliant on his day or he's just a passenger on his day, sort of thing. So he can be Marmite within a game, let alone as an individual. Yeah, there's been clubs linked with him. I've seen Derby being bandied around. I've even seen him Sunderland being bandied around as well. Who knows where he's going to go to? I think the only thing we can safely say is he won't be a Blackburn Rovers player next season, which I think is sad to a certain extent. How many times do we see players leave Blackburn Rovers and the grass is greener on the other side, and yet they go and do bugger all? Yeah, you can probably name 5 players that have gone on and done pretty well, to be fair. Tom Kearney, great player, and went on to do other stuff. But I can probably name more players, and I probably need 2 Burnley hands to list all the players that that haven't gone on and reached the dizzy heights of what they thought they were going to do. But and I say, with a bit of confidence that we're probably going to see him, not see him next season, is because on TikTok and all that good stuff, it was pointed out that Todd Cantwell was wearing the number 10 shirt in his training and things like that. So, yeah. Am I sad to see Tyrese Dolan go? It depends which Tyrese Dolan we're talking about. It just pisses me off, just like any player when they need to ramp up the game, they can do. There's just no loyalty in football. We dragged him off the streets of Preston, didn't we? We gave him a fantastic opportunity. We've nurtured him, we've developed him, we've put our arm around him when he needed us the most, and then they don't think twice about they get a sniff for another club, sort of thing. He can't blame it on game time. He's had more than ample game time and what have you.
If you want me to, right?
Yes,
So,
yes. Sorry, yeah. What's your take on Tyrese Dolan's imminent departure, which of course should be confirmed within the next couple of days, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it is disappointing. I think in my head more so that we didn't get anything for it. I think it's the same with like Blackburn Diaz. We didn't get anything for it in the essence of we didn't get any value for him coming back into the club. I know we got him on a free essentially, and it's just one of those where look, yeah, we give him loads of game time, but how many times during the season do we come on here and say like, he's just not good enough. He's just not good enough. We were saying if he does go in the summer, we'll be disappointed. No, now that time's come around, and we're saying yes, we are disappointed that he's going. Maybe just because of the performances at the end of the season. Yeah, but and his potential and what could be. But if you're in his position, if I'm in his position, if I'm looking at it going, I'm not a Blackburn fan. I'm a lad who's come and play football at the team that give me the opportunity. I'm sure he'll be forever grateful, but he'll want to, 6 months ago, we were thinking, yeah, we don't fancy this guy. He's a bench warmer. He'll come on and play 2-3 games, and then he'll be sitting on the bench. And that might all be what he is. He might go to another club and it never will not work out. But it is a shame because we know what he can do. But let's say, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Let's say, for example, magically we're in the Premier League in 2 years' time. And, we're doing really well, and a Tyrese Dolan just doesn't fit in our squad, and we won't be so disappointed now that he's left, But then at the hindsight, wonderful thing, we could look in 2 years' time, we're in League One, and we say, look, we could have kept the likes of Tyrese Dolan. But look, we're looking at Tyrese Dolan here. He's a great player. Is he Premier League quality? Look, hopefully he proves me wrong, but I can't see it personally. But he could go to another club and do really well. And that's fine, He maybe thinks this time's around. I don't know how many years has he been with us now. It was during the COVID season he joined, wasn't it? So it would have been 2020. beginning of 2020 when he signed for us. So 5 years, which is a long time in football. And look, I'd love him to have stayed. Would he have been that player that will, a Bradley Dack kind of player, Sammy Schmonix? Maybe, maybe not. He hadn't proved it for 5 years with him being in it. So, if he goes on and does whatever, which he's most likely going to do, good luck to him. But it's football, unfortunately. That's football today. Like Jonty said, there's no loyalty in football, and ultimately that goes both ways. I'm a part of it now, and it's like, in the sense of, look, if he does really poor, we're not going to play him. We want him to leave on a free. See in a bit, that's part of it. But vice versa, if he does really well and then he goes, it's one of them. You got to look after yourself in football, like Jonty said before. Put the oxygen on your own face when you're on the plane, and that's what Dolan's really done ultimately. And good luck to him. But ultimately, hopefully, fingers crossed, we bring better personnel. Gakpo and we can have a good season, hopefully.
Respect, of course, to the guys giving up a bit of their time to talk all things Blackburn Rovers. Again, check us out here on the Rovers podcast. We try to meet at least a couple of times a month, if not more than that. But again, we're going to hand you back over to Eddie to talk all things Blackburn Rovers memories. That's right. Listen, he's got something good to say.
Hey, with Eddie back once again, but this time I don't want your money. No, I want your name, your voice, your Rovers memories. That's right. We started a social media project over on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, showcasing 150 Blackburn Rovers memories. I've asked fans from around the globe to drop their Rovers memories, but of course I need more of them. That's right, 150 is a big number and we need some more, and that's where you come in. That's right, whether it's the best player, best goal, best shirt, best moment in regards to Blackburn Rovers, I want to hear about it. So if you want to do that, again, follow that link. There is also one down in the description, and drop it in there. Of course, that memory will be featured over on Twitter on a day of its own, and then of course together in a master video when we drop it on November the 5th to celebrate Blackburn Rovers' 150th anniversary. So please do me a favour and drop your Rovers memory. But anyway, once again, back to Dirk to wrap up.
Appreciate that, Eddie, and I appreciate you guys for sticking in. And of course, any memory you can give, I'd be absolutely appreciative for it, because we're trying to make something special here with 150 Blackburn Rovers memories, and we're going to hopefully have a master plan at the end of the campaign. Anyway, until then, of course, subscribe, smash the like. We'll be back for some more news as and when we get it. But until then, we're done.